guys. Come on in. Come on in. Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey girls. Hey guys. Welcome in. Come on in. Go ahead and get ready. How y'all doing? Let me know where you from. Hold on. Hold on. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday school. Hey guys. Where you from? Hey. Crystal. Hey. Beverly. Ebony. Lynette. Kimberly. Maria. Bruce. It's going fast. So if I miss you, I don't mean to. Hey guys, come in. Hey, Houston, where's you from? Hey, Richmond, Texas, Virginia, Delaware, Florida, Houston, Atlanta. Hey, all right. Texas again. We got Atlanta, Texas in the house. Strong tonight, right? Jersey. Hey guys, Nicole. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I said your name wrong. It's going so fast. From Pennsylvania. I'm sorry. Lynette from Brooklyn. Amanda from Arkansas. Hey, we're gonna get ready to start a couple seconds. Come on in. We ain't here to waste time tonight. We're here to give people that can. We can go on with our Sunday. Welcome in, guys. Thank you for showing up. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, how we doing? Welcome in. We got Philadelphia. We got London, Texas. Hey, I'm live in Cabo, Mexico. I don't know if you know or follow me. I actually live in Cabo, San Luis Cabo, Mexico now since July of last year of 2022. So I am in Cabo right now. Hopefully, we're praying to have some good Cabo internet today with no disruption. Right? All right. Come in. Come on, guys. Let me know where you from. 1 minute. Don't get started. I want to hold you up. Thank you for coming in. Hey. All right. Again, we got July. We got Ebony. Yes, July. Oh, you'll be in Cabo in July. All right. I think we're planning a trip. My daughter be out of school, so we're planning a trip to actually probably go to Dubai for a month in July. We got to look at her Cabo schedule because she goes to school out here in Cabo. Jasmine from Chicago. Hey, hey girl, hey. We got Ohio. Hey, Wayne. Annette, Princeton, Texas. From Augusta, Georgia. Man, we got some Georgia, some Texas. Let's go. Are y'all ready to get started? I don't want to waste your time. I know this is my song. Hey y'all. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right. All right. How are we doing? Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And tonight I want to talk about how you're already a software tester. You just didn't know it. So yes, it does say here how I broke into tech and went from making 45K to over 147 as a software tester, and how I've been able to help actually over 40 students do the same in 2022. But this is less about me and more about you, right? And how you can do it too, right? So let's go ahead and let's get started. First of all, I want to know, roll call. What's your current or previous job title? Are you coming from technical support experience, help desk support, customer service, project management? If it's not up there, that's fine. Just tell me, what is your most current or previous job title that you've held? All right. Can you guys hear me just fine? Let me know if you can hear me just fine. Let me know if you can hear me just fine. Okay, so you guys must hear me. Okay. Hey, we got senior recruiter. Okay. Mortgage software help desk, UX researcher. All right, look at you guys are sitting on some awesome titles and responsibilities. Okay, yeah, you guys can hear me. Senior cloud analyst, and you can hear me just fine. Thank you. All right. Authorization representative, help desk manager. I'm sorry, it goes so fast, you guys. Claims adjuster, copywriter. Awesome, awesome. Now, and where are you? You know, why are you here? Let me know where you are. Child protective investigator. All right. Part-time supervisor. Why are you here? Job change, job transition, pay raise, to make more money, looking for a way to get into tech, the ability to work remote or from home, just to get more information on what software testing is. Maybe you have no practical experience, looking at how you can do that. Maybe you're working a job that you just hate. Hey, we've been there. And maybe you're feeling capped at your income, or maybe you're just learning on your own. It has become overwhelming. Tell me, why are you here? All right. We got ready for change, more money, work from home, career change, take care of my family, no practical experience. Awesome. Room to grow, make more money. Okay, awesome. So we're all kind of here, you know, amongst the same thing. Yes, awesome. Well, the truth is we are all software testers, okay? So chances are you have already done the following, either at work, at school, or at home. Let me know if you have some type of experience. Maybe you might think you haven't, but that might just take for you to think outside of the box just a little bit more, okay? So let's just say in a job, maybe you analyze business system requirements, or the requirements of how to use a software application or software program application at your job. Raise your hand. I don't care if you worked at Wendy's, right? When you got into that job, you had to actually learn how to use that system. Am I right? So you might have had to read some SOPs, read the requirements on how that actually functions. How many of you have done that, right? You have experience analyzing business system application software requirements. Maybe you've reported or found a defect in your job's program software application. How many of you have found defects at work? You said I'm eating Wendy's as soon as you said. I miss Wendy's, girl, because I ain't got it in Cabo. So how many of you have helped test company program softwares after an update was made to ensure that it works? Maybe at your company, they actually came in, they made an update, and then your company said, hey, go test the system out to make sure it's still functioning or it's working. Have you done that? Maybe you've created or trained on your coworkers on how to use the company program or software application. Have you done that? Maybe you've implemented, can't talk, a new software system or technology at a company. Have you done that? Or maybe you provided feedback for improvement for user enhancements, or even you collaborated with the company stakeholders and teams regarding its hardware, softwares, programs, applications, or systems. Have you done any of this? I'm seeing a few yeses come through here. I'm seeing a few yeses. All right. So if you said yes, you already a software tester, you just didn't know it. By the end of this masterclass, you're going to know who I am and why I believe I'm qualified to share this information. While becoming a software tester is still a great career opportunity in the recession, job layoffs, and the growth of AI and automation. You're going to get my 6-step skills method to landing a high-paid job as a software tester in the next 90 days. You're going to understand what software testing is and opportunities. You're going to learn about common software testing skills, processes, and responsibilities. I'm going to take you through a day in the life as a software tester. I actually missed my R on there, but you get me? You want to see that? I'm going to take you through like what a day in the life looks like of me actually reading requirements and actually writing test cases and what that looks like from that perspective. All right. I'm going to teach you how to read a QA job description. So in a minute, I'm going to show you a QA job description. And by the end of this, you should be able to pretty much go on the internet and kind of understand what these job descriptions are saying. Now, they can get a little complex, but you should actually be able to 30 to 40% more understand how to read QA job descriptions. Yes, I forgot the R. I saw that already. Now, you're going to identify, I'm going to show you how you can identify transferable skills you already have to use as experience. Then I'm going to actually introduce how Road to QA, my program, can actually help position you as a software tester, as we've done for myself, my cousin, my husband, my brother, my sister-in-law, my best friend, as well as 40 plus students who now have jobs. And If you stay to the end, I'm actually going to give you my favorite QA resources for under $100 that using YouTube and Udemy. So I'm actually going to give you the ones that I use to continue to keep up my QA skill. All right, because you're going to learn that QA is not the same across company to company. This requires us to keep up our skills. All right, are we ready? So by the end of the master class, you guys should be able to understand these job descriptions. Can any of you understand them now? Well, if you don't understand them now, these are some job descriptions I just pulled that with either within the last 6 days or 30 days that they've been posted, right? These are saying like create, document, maintain test cases, perform manual testing, participate in code and content deployments, perform manual testing on common web browsers, find and enter bugs and defects, communicate with the project management team. Would that be good if by the end of this, you would actually know what all of this stuff means, right? Or you have a step further into it, right? Responsibilities, collaborating with the developers, execute test cases. You're going to be one step closer to understand what this means when it's talking about the SDLC or SQL and stuff like that. Are you ready? All right. So if you want, go ahead and screenshot these. And then this will also give you some practice at the end of this masterclass where you'll see how you are actually understanding now these job descriptions. All right. Let's get started. So maybe you've been wondering, how do I get into tech? Do I really need a degree? Do I need previous experience? Do I need a boot camp? Do I need certifications? Do I need to know how to code? Do I need to be techie? Let me tell you now, I do not have a degree and I do not have certifications in software testing. I'll just tell you that right now. So I say no. The difference in your paycheck is your skill set and positioning. Say skill set. If you could type in the chat skill set. All right. The difference in your paycheck is skill set and positioning. Let me show you. Now, before we start, I want to tell you how you can leverage your previous experience. Some of you guys are sitting on previous experience technology-wise, domain-wise, or skill set-wise. All right. Now, don't just limit yourself to what I have here in the box. I want you to think about all your jobs, your current jobs. What technology experience have you used? Have any of you used Salesforce, Oracle, Jira? What type of hardwares or applications have you used? All right. Let me know in the chat. Now, again, it doesn't have to be limited to this. Okay. It's just, I need you to think outside of the box. What technology experience do you have from all of your jobs? What domain, sector, or industry experience do you have? Have you worked in healthcare, financial, or government? All right. What sectors of industries have you worked in? What skills do you have? Do you have leadership skills, project management skills? Do you have skills of being inside of a database? Do you have back-end skills? Do you have coding fit skills? I mean, do you have technical writing skills? What skills do you have? Again, don't limit yourself to the examples I have here, but think outside of the box. What are your technology skills? What are your domain, sector, and industry skills and experience? You guys are sitting on some good ones. Government, leadership, Salesforce. You guys need to use this. And this is how you position your previous jobs experience, okay? See, the difference is that you just don't have the skill set of QA, but you're actually sitting on experiences and responsibilities and job tasks that you actually probably perform that's closer than you think. So when I talk about even technology, there are QA jobs specifically to QA test Salesforce. You guys, without saying you're a Salesforce admin, you're the best person to test that application because you have Salesforce experience. Maybe you use Jira. All right. If you use Jira, now, adding in skills, the skill set of software testing, you actually already have Jira experience. You've been exposed to this already. These are keywords. All right. Now with domain and sector industry, some of you guys are sitting on banking. Healthcare. Let me give you an example. When I got into the market as a software tester and my husband got into the market, ServiceNow is a big one. When I got into the market, he got into the market, I would see he would get jobs reaching out to him that I never saw. Why? Because he had a whole bunch of healthcare stuff when I had more SaaS, software as a service, on my background. So a lot of healthcare jobs was calling him because guess what? He already shows experience in that sector. Meaning he's already knowledgeable in the compliances and things of that nature, right? Whereas I'm not. I'm brand new to that. If you've been a bank teller, banks, I've had students who had bank teller history, but then they went from actually bank telling from less than $20 an hour to landing a QA job, making $45 an hour. The difference was skill set. So I need you guys to let's not discount our previous skills. You guys start thinking about this. I don't care if you don't even go further than listening to this. If you're going to pivot into anything else and you want to reinvent yourself, the first thing you need to do is identify where you are now, what you have. You're sitting on something. Use that experience. All right, we got that? So that's your homework. I need you to think about your technology experience, your domain, and your skill set experience. Because, you know, bottom line is you could be going after jobs that actually are in alignment with those experiences. All right, and this is how you leverage that experience. This is how you leverage those tasks. This is how you leverage those responsibilities and what you did with that experience on your past jobs. Now, let's talk about the QA opportunity. The fact is, job candidates aren't required to possess a college degree. Now, you could have a company that just wants to see a college degree, and that's absolutely fine. If you have one, that just means that you have even more of one up on a person that doesn't, right? If a company just wants to have that. But I will tell you that I coach my students to apply for every single thing. Why? Because I've had 7 remote QA jobs within the last year and a half. I do not have a degree, and all of them actually had a degree was required, but I got the job. Okay, because it doesn't matter forwards and backwards. I can speak the language of QA. Okay, so I teach you to apply for everything. Let them tell you. If you can meet 60% of that job description, you apply for it. And that doesn't just go for QA, any job you're going for. All right. So the starting salary is quite good. Entry level jobs are normally about $35 an hour. Experienced testers can earn up to about $85 a year. And then the job growth and outlook indicates favorable job security. So I personally don't believe, again, I don't want to fight nobody on here. I don't want nobody fight, but I personally just don't believe in job security. I believe in skill set and value. Like, I believe that that's our security. I believe that your value, your positioning, and your skill set in the right market or in any economy is positioning you so that you can keep money coming through your door. That's what I believe. All right. But I want to point out that with QA, in the age of information technology, there's software development for mobile devices, for cloud computing, for business management. It's all going to remain in demand for the next few years, even with AI and automation. Now, definitely they can say, oh, 90 million jobs are going to go, but there will be still 90 million new jobs created. It's just going to be what side of that skill set will you be on to land those jobs. All right. Now, what is manual QA? What is a manual QA analyst? Now, first, I'll let you know, I actually personally don't like to call us just a manual QA analyst. I like to say we're QA analysts. I like to take the word manual out of it, but essentially manual is essentially testing was when a professional is actually doing a quality check on a software application without the use of automation tools or scripting. Okay, so it's me testing like Amazon.com. It's me testing it that once they build Amazon.com, that it works so a person can actually check out, right? That is manual testing. I'm testing the software manually, just as the end user is expected to actually use it. All right, and ensuring that it meets the business specifications that it was designed to do. All right, so manual testing can never be avoided entirely, as it is a continuous process that requires human verification at regular intervals throughout what's called the software development lifecycle. We'll talk about that shortly, okay? As a result, it's essential for teams to find the right balance between manual and automated testing. So we'll talk about the differences there. So who is a manual tester? Manual tester is a professional who conducts quality checks on software applications without using automation tools or scripting. In essence, the specialty involves manually checking the software errors and fixing them. Well, we don't fix them, but the developers fix them, right? But we report them. All right, so the type of responsibilities could be analyzing client and application requirements. We just talked about that, right? Creating test environments for executing test cases. We'll talk about that. Establishing quality assurance strategies, organizing and conducting testing meetings, creating and executing and analyzing test cases, detecting and reporting bugs, monitoring the system for errors, and keeping in touch with the developers and the testing team. Do we understand what a actual manual QA analyst is? Okay. So it's a person that actually tests the software to make sure that it's doing what it was designed to do for both the clients and the end users. Okay, for the stakeholders, the people who want to build this software, and then for the actual end users. All right. Let me just check and make sure I'm not missing anything. All right. So let me give you an example. So Henry Ford replaced human employees with automation, right? with his factory by introducing the assembly line. In a system, it divided the manufacturing process into a series of small repetitive tasks that could be performed quickly and efficiently by machines. Now, he still also used human employees to maintain the automation by hiring specialized workers to operate and repair the machines. Hence, in every economy, there's just a switch. Jobs may leave, but new jobs will be created to maintain that new end of automation. Which side will you be on, right? So Ford also trained his employees to perform multiple tasks, which reduced the need of specialized skilled labor. So again, it's still reduced and it saved the company money, but they still then had to pay people to do other productive tasks to help. Okay, so even though Ford's assembly line relied heavily on automation, human employees were still needed for various tasks such as quality control and testing. Do y'all see that? Automation, while efficient and consistent in performing repetitive tasks, is not always able to detect and correct defects or problems on its own. Human employees were needed to perform visual inspections, test the functionality of the products, and make the adjustments or repairs. All right. So in summary, while automation greatly increased productivity and efficiency, it was not able to replace the role of human employees in tasks such as quality control and testing, which requires a human judgment and attention to detail. One of the things as a software tester we're constantly actually reading business requirements. Yeah, we got AI and stuff like that, but there still should be a human eye over that, right? We don't just want to trust that AI is doing everything, right? There still needs to be a human eye. All right. So this is why I feel manual testers are still needed with the growth of AI and automation, because technology still needs a human eye, and it still needs a human eye to create it, to test it, and to maintain it, right? We got that? So what is software testing? Software testing is the process of evaluating and verifying that a software product or application does what it's supposed to do. The benefits of testing includes preventing bugs and reducing development costs and improving performance. Now, you guys can screenshot this. Now, what does a QA do? A QA tester do? All right. QA tester plays a critical role in delivering high quality, perfectly functioning software and web applications to its customers. We test and evaluate new and existing programs to identify and help remove bugs, glitches, and other experience issues. All of you guys are sitting at your jobs. I want you guys to look at your current job and your past jobs. Go look at their job description, see if any of them got QA testers or QA roles. All right. You might be sitting in a job right now that is hiring for a QA role. What is quality assurance? Okay. Quality assurance is to ensure the quality of an application or software by testing its functionality, performance, security throughout the software development lifecycle. All right. Providing a bug and defect-free software and making sure it's built to its client's needs and expectations. Okay. So we are essentially as software testers. I'm going to be answering questions a little more too, so I can keep going, but I'm going to answer them shortly. So what is quality assurance? So essentially, we as QA testers, we are part of what's called the SDLC of the software development lifecycle. All right. And so in that cycle is to ensure a bug is the process where the building where the idea of a software comes to life, to developing it, to designing it, to testing it, to deploying it, and maintaining it. All right, we'll go over that in just a minute. And what is a software bug? A software bug is an error, a flaw, or fault in a computer program or system that causes it to produce the incorrect or unexpected results or behave in unintended ways. Do we got that? Now, this is going to be a lot. We 23 minutes in. Y'all ready? Let me know you're still here. Let me say ready. Let me know. Just type in ready. Let me know you're still here. Let me know you're still here. All right. I know it's a lot. I need to know you're still with me. Did you learn something so far? Are you learning something so far? Did we learn what QA testing is, software testing, the defect? All right. So someone asked about vulnerability management. I believe that's more on, that is like kind of QA, but that's more like a security type of testing. So it could be a form of testing, but probably more on the end of security is what I would say personally. All right. All right. Y'all good? Let's go. So who am I? We're not going to stay on this long. We want to go ahead and keep this started, but I think you need to know just a little bit about me, right? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm Jennifer. I'm Jenny. You can call me Jenny. So in 2021, I was not here where I am today in Cabo. I was in Atlanta crying and sick with COVID. And me and my husband in January 2021, our house went down. And when I say our house went down, we was both making about 45, 50, 60K, you know, somewhere in there a piece. And we both got sick with COVID. Our house went down, meaning, and from when I say our house went down, I almost didn't make it. They didn't even know if I was going to live. I was sick for like a whole month, literally. And in that month, things got really bad financially to the point where I had to put a title on my car just to keep up with the bills so we can come out of our circumstance. Okay. And I knew that I needed to do something. And I learned about software testing months prior, but I didn't activate it. Honey, it ain't nothing like your house going down. It's one thing when one person can't work, but when it's two of y'all and there's only two of y'all and both of y'all income stop, and you realize you ain't got no savings and enough is enough. So I knew I had to do something. So I went back and I learned QA. I actually bought someone's program, and I ended up not going through the program, but I used like the ebook and like Udemy. And then I got a coaching with Lori, who actually works kind of combination with my students. And from there, she coached me. I got into the market literally within 24 hours of me getting into the market. I landed my first interview, and I did 2 interviews. And then within 7 days, I landed the first job. Y'all want to see my offers? I'm real. My name's Jennifer. All right, that's me. So these are screenshots, but I got a whole nother screenshot come showing you all my offers and my journey. So here's what happened. April 2021, I landed my first QA job. By June, I had my second. By October, I had my third. By November and February 2022, I was landing 6-figure offers. And actually, October 2021, I actually launched the first version of my program. And then within this last year, I've now had over 42 people land jobs. In that time period, what happened was that after I landed my first 2, I actually helped my brother, my cousin, and my husband land jobs. These are, my husband's name is Vince. This is my husband, Vince. My brother's name is Jonathan, and my cousin was Cliff. And so with them, they all landed jobs. They probably all now have been on their 3rd or 4th jobs, QA jobs, within 1 year. So within the first, so in 2021, I landed my first 2. My husband landed 1. And then from there, it kind of trickled. And that was all literally in 1 year. These are all my offers. This is my first offer. As you can see, I tell you, April 20, I told you guys, April 2021 is when my life changed. All right. Let's see. I think I skipped one because one of them is not in order. But see, April 2021, there was another one that came between this one. Then I had August 2021. I should have had one sitting here for May. Hold on, April, May, June. But then I had September, then November, and that's 2021. Here is 2022, March and May 2022. And then most recently, as you can see, I covered the date on this one, but this one's August 2022. My most recent one has been in 2022. All right, I do this. So this is where I wanted you to be able to say, you know, see, this is who I am. All right. This is no lie. I didn't get these screenshots. This is me. These are all of these all belong to me and my offers and my jobs. Someone asked me, how did I work for multiple companies? Well, you know, in full disclosure, I want to be a good example. And essentially, you should be on company time correctly. But a girl came from making 45K into landing 85, 90K offers. Okay. So, you know, my 2 jobs didn't require me to actually be on camera. And so I was able to perform those jobs. And that's just full disclosure. That's I had to do what I had to do at the time. And then after 2022, I started landing 6-figure offers. So I started working multiple at a time. All right. So are these short-term jobs? So I had 3 of them. Hold on. 3 of them was, so they all actually started. No, they didn't. 3 of them, I can probably look at it and tell you honestly. I have to look at them. So this was a contract to direct hire. This was a direct hire. This one was a contract. And I don't know if it's showing me pointing, but the first one, April 2021, was a contract to hire, and they hired me. The second one was a contract was a direct hire. The third one was a contract, and the fourth one for November was a contract. The fifth one, my last three were all direct hires. So yeah. So yes, I did have quite a few direct hire positions, but I was trying to get as much money as possible. I was coming out of circumstances. All right. How long did it take you to land a job after learning the program? So that's the tricky thing. Again, I actually didn't go through another program. I bought it, but I didn't go through it because the videos were quite long at the time for me and what I was doing, what I was trying to do. So I kind of got a coach to coach me. I kind of pushed myself in the market, but I did take that individual's book and kind of looked at keywords with Udemy and YouTube. And then I kind of pushed myself into the market and landed my first one. Okay. So enough about me. Let's talk about my students. So here's what happened. 2021, after I've been doing all of that and I was on like my third or fourth job, after I helped my brother, my cousin, and my husband, here's what happened. I launched a beta version of my program and they started getting results. These are some of my students who have, provided some video testimonials that's on our page. And then I want to share with you that just this year, in February, not just the whole year, because we actually had 3 offers in January. As you can see, February 13, 2023, this person landed a 90,000 job. This person, this isn't her offer. This is her actually telling us, but they sent the offer. And her offer, I believe, was about 75K or so. Then this student offers, I think, was about 70K. And then this one is 102. And if you look at all of the dates, these are February. This just happened. Okay. No, it wasn't software testing, but no, it was actually another gentleman named Greg, who's one of my mentor coaches. That's how I got into software testing. So his name is Greg and then Lori. So that's actually how I learned about software testing. All right. So, and then again, I just started teaching. I started teaching. People were getting results. People were landing jobs. I was doing master classes. This has been what's been happening to my life in the last year. This is just not even everything. I'm just going to tell you that. I'll be sitting here all day for me to be showing you, the results of, people actually finishing the program, because the program is actually considered self-paced. So it still requires a person to go through and complete, all right, to see success. Okay. But all right. So we're going to talk about that. So who is this not for? Because I don't want to waste your time. I'm real. I'm very real, y'all. I do not waste time, and I don't want you to waste mine, and I don't want to waste yours. It's Sunday. Who is this not for? Anyone who dislikes continuous learning, anyone who likes doing, if you just like doing the same thing every day, coming to work like Walmart, you just on the cash register, you know this is what's gonna happen. This ain't gonna be for you, because you guys, we got to turn the switch on. The problem now is that automation and AI is taking jobs for easily, and not even easy no more, but repetitive tasks, right? So that means we need to be on the other side of the skill set. And some of us, we're asking for more money, but what we can do, a computer or our automation can do it more efficiently without complaining and everything else, right? So we need to get on the other side. And so your skill sets equals your paycheck. All right. So, and that's interested, but I'm not technically smart. We need to talk about that. All right. Maybe you haven't used a computer before. If you're scared of tech, if you're not a self-starter, if you don't think GTS, Google that. I'm going to tell you that now. And I love when you guys say scared of tech. Let me tell y'all something. If your kids, your husband, your girlfriend right now, if you thought they was doing something other than what they supposed to be doing, you would be a private investigator on this phone. I don't care if they had an iPad, an Android, Apple phone. Y'all be quick to say that y'all are scared of tech, but you can find something when you can break in these phones when you're trying to break in somebody's phone and find some information. Y'all get real technical. So I personally believe that anything can be learned. It's up to you. Okay. So when I say scared of tech, I mean I definitely mean, if you're scared, and I actually mean less of just being scared, but not willing. All right. Then we got to be adults here. Leroy, I'm sorry. If you don't know me, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be who I am. I'm not here to be no influencer. All right. This is real. This changed my life. It's changed too many lives. Either you gonna accept the challenge and do something different and overcome, or we gonna say it ain't for me. All right. But when you trying to get into something, you a private investigator all day long. Now, if you're going to go on a job and you're going to say, I don't know, this ain't for you. Because we got Google. Now we got Chat AI, we got Google compete with something else. You can Google stuff to find information. So if you're not willing to exhaust your resources to find an answer before you speak up, meaning you're not an analyst, you don't think analytically and think outside the box, all right, then it just may not be for you. And that's with love, okay? Because I do believe that everything isn't for everybody. But I do believe that I want to expose this to as many people as possible because we're sitting on opportunities, but we don't think we could do it. And that's what I'm here for. All right. So who is this for? A person who can use computers and mobile applications. You either you have attention to detail or you have the ability. See, some of us, we say, well, I don't know if I'm not that detailed. Can you be detail oriented if you take your time? Maybe you want more remote career opportunities. Now, true, every job isn't remote, but it has more remote and career growth and, opportunities. Maybe you like dissecting how things work. All right. And maybe you like working with multiple teams. That doesn't mean that you just like talking to everybody, but you're okay with it. Again, I think sometimes we take and we say, oh, I don't like people, and just say, well, you do what you need to do the job. If you got a computer, if you got to communicate with the next team, will you do it? All right. So either we want this money or we don't, but you can't expect high 5 and 6 figures for something that automation is taking and replacing your job, but then you're not willing to step up to do the things that can actually give you these high paid skill sets. All right. So many people think that you can't break into tech or a new career without a degree, of previous experience, or certifications. And I missed a word there. It's supposed to say previous experience or certifications. But the truth is you need skills. Everybody type in skills. SKILLS, because we about to go. I don't like to say it's a side hustle. These are jobs. I mean, could it be? I mean, technically, there are freelance positions. I currently have a freelance position, but I wouldn't consider it a side hustle. It's still a job. Skills. Because you got skills. I just showed y'all a few minutes ago you had skills. So this is my 6-step method. I don't care. You don't have to use this just for my method. I believe that if you want to reinvent yourself into any career, you just need skills. First, you need to start with the understanding of either past experience or responsibilities that are like QA related, or find your current skills and values and experiences and abilities. All right. And you need to understand QA. Then you need to know and learn QA software testing. Then you need to improve and optimize for the market. You need to level up your image for the interview, load your profile onto the market, and score interviews and skill up. All right. You got skills. All right. So you need my 6-step skills method. All right. So why I love QA as an entry point, because software development and testing is not just in tech, you guys. People are throwing around this tech word. You guys, jobs are all amongst us. Okay. I like to say you don't just need a job. We need money, right? So I know we're looking for long-term jobs, but the truth is it doesn't matter if it's contract. It doesn't matter if it's direct hire. You just had direct hire companies just get rid of thousands of jobs. It can happen any day. But what holds is your skill set, your high value skill sets. If you have a high value skill set and positioning, it don't matter if one job goes down, you can take that skill and go somewhere else. It's skill set. All right. So software development is not in testing, is not just in tech. Okay. I don't care if it's Wendy's. I don't care if it's the pharmacy. I don't care if it's developing a ring light. Everything that we use has to be software. It has to be tested before it goes out to the end user. All right. And so while everybody want to throw around the buzzword of tech, what I like about software testing and QA is because it's not just tech. All right. I don't care if it's a Fashion Nova website. They have a mobile app, a mobile app, a website. But they're not a tech company, right? I don't think they consider a tech company. They're like an e-commerce clothing company, right? But they utilize program software and application to sell their products and services. And when people go on there, they want to be amongst a good experience to buy the product, right? It had to be tested. So this is another reason why I love QA, because it's an entry point to other jobs. You guys screenshot this. So I teach you essentially how to be a manual QA tester. But again, y'all, you're going to learn. I do not like that word manual. I like to say QA analyst. Okay, quality analysts. All right, that's what we are. And so essentially, we teach you how to pivot in as a junior QA analyst by understanding the front end of how to test the front end of application, a back end, or middleware. So we teach you how to position yourself a little bit above the rest, because we don't just come out as manual QA testers. That's not what I teach my students. All right, but when you actually learn QA testing, being a part of the software development process, you can then pivot up in project management or leadership skills. You can become a QA lead, a QA manager, a scrum master, a BA. I actually got my scrum master cert now, and I'm actually was in the market for a scrum master, but I pulled back because I got sick. Yes, quality assurance analyst, yes. Or you can go hard skills. You can say, you know what, I'm not really a leader type of person or project manager, but I like to kind of be heads down. So I'm gonna go more database analyst or API tester or ETL or QA automation. Do you know I have students now who are QA leads, scrum masters, BAs, and a product owner right now? And just found out one was a product owner right now, just from starting from QA. All right. Screenshot this. These are all the different job titles that QA can be under. Let me tell you something. No job lists their software tester titles the same. Every company can call it something different. So what I would, Rose, if your connection is going out, just refresh and hopefully it should come back just fine. So screenshot this. All right. These are all the different titles that you want to search. You don't want to just say manual QA tester. You might miss jobs. These are all the different titles. All right. Even though it says software quality engineer, most of the time when it has engineer, they are looking for some type of automation skill set there. But however, I have about 6 students that have jobs whose title says software engineer, and they don't do any automation. Okay. So I say, read the descriptions and apply for everything. That's what I teach my students. All right. Don't be scared. Now, what is a software web application? Y'all still with me? I'm about to get started. Y'all thought we started, huh? We gonna be out. Oh, did you get it? Let me know. I'm gonna go back. Can y'all see it? Were you able to get the screenshot of it? So, what is a software web application? Is any internal, external company web application or program that will be used to help its employees or customers. All right. Now, what I love to say is you're the best person to test the software program application. It's one, I want you guys, it's the job title on here that says UAT, User Acceptance Tester, UAT. Okay. A user acceptance tester is essentially someone that is testing the program or application from the user's perspective, but in like a mimicking environment. Okay. So let's just say you got Amazon.com, but in the back of Amazon, they have a duplicated site of Amazon that's just for the QA testing team. Then they have a duplicated environment of Amazon for the UAT team, and they act is basically the same production environment that they give to the customers, but they test in UAT before it actually goes to production. Okay. So I like to say we're all UAT testers. You just didn't know it because you've been what's called also a SME. You guys write SME, S-M-E, a SME. SME stands for subject matter expert. See, we all been subject matter experts at our jobs in some form or way. All of you have worked on some type of project, program, software, or application with that company, and you had to be a subject matter expert to do your job. Am I right or am I right? Because if you could not, you would not have that job, right? If you could not work that software program or application, do your job, they'd get rid of you, right? Absolutely. So I don't care if you worked at Wendy's or I don't care if you worked at Walmart. You have been a subject matter expert. All right. So look at this. Walmart alone has POS machines, mobile apps, and online websites. My husband personally had a contract that worked with NCR. The next time you go to Walmart, look at their POS machines. It should say NCR. And then he actually worked and he actually tested their virtual POS machines and as a software tester. All right. They had to be software testing. Okay, tested. The mobile app had to be software tested. The online website had to be software tested. All right, right? So even though they all do the same thing, the goal is to purchase, they still had, my former company was NCR, right? And so even though they had the same goal, which was for the customer to purchase, the functionality still was different and they had to be tested, right? And Pamela, if you worked at NCR, honey, you sitting on experience right there. If you actually worked with them POS machines in any way, or just the fact that NCR is, that's a huge company. Not really a big fan of how they do business, their culture though. I'm not personally, I don't know. But so all of them had to be tested, right? But guess what? This young lady, look at this lady right here. She's that one customer service representative, right? Remember, automation got rid of all those people's jobs that was at the cash register. They put those POS machines and they put one person there, and it's changed shifts. So her skill set had to change. Y'all see where I'm going with that? So instead of just using the regular cash register that they do, and they actually scan everything and give the total to the customer, she had to be retrained to become a SME, all right, on this new process. So when I tell you, yes, don't be scared, jobs gonna be lost, that just means new jobs will be created. What side of it will you be on? All right. So Walmart had to have all of these tested. Guess what? My husband wasn't even testing the mobile app or the online website for Walmart. So that means they probably had a whole nother team. He was just testing the POS machines. But let me give you a perspective as a UAT tester. If I was this young lady, her title is probably something like customer representative advocate, a customer checkout, whatever, right? Or customer, I'll just say customer service manager. All right. But essentially, her expertise is around two things: customer management, right? And application management, right? So she knows, she's the expert. Guess what? When you guys go to the machine and you guys put your money in, if it doesn't give you a receipt, who you gonna go to? Her. So on her resume, she doesn't need to speak from a low level of just managing the machine. She needs to speak at a high level of leadership as being a SME in that program and application. You guys are already a software tester. You just didn't know it. Are we getting this? Let me know you getting this. So the difference is skill set. Are we getting this? So she's actually a UAT tester because she's the best person to test the software. If they make an update to that software right now, she's the best person to test it because she does checkout and manage checkout every day for Walmart. All right. Let's keep going. So this probably need to be updated a little bit, but Walmart cashiers was averaging about $16.40. Now this was September 2021, about $16.40 an hour. I don't know what background or cultural background you guys are from, but they actually maintain jobs for about 300,000 Black African Americans, right? Unfortunately, a lot of people lost their jobs. However, Walmart also said that their average salary for a QA tester was $103. Now, it probably definitely also depend on years of experience and skill set, level of skill set. But $103, the difference in paycheck is skill set. So you're a Walmart cashier for $16.40 because you're doing the repetitive job that the automation taking a job, but they sitting here giving jobs out for $103 or averaging from $50K to $206. Some of y'all need to go look at your companies and see how much QA testers make. Because some of you are the best person to become the QA tester because you've already been doing whatever you've been doing with their software, programs, applications, or workflows, practices, or just being a part of the business. Don't discount your previous jobs. Don't discount your experience. Don't discount your skills. Don't discount your industries and sectors that you worked in. It's not what you say, it's how you present it. All right? Y'all see that? Did anybody learn something there? Skill set. The difference in paycheck is skill set. Let me give you an example. If we go to Amazon.com, we all shop at Amazon.com. If you guys go to Amazon right now, and if the shopping cart kept if the shopping cart actually kept the quantity on 10, would you check out? Would you check out? Would you check out? If it did not allow you to change the quantity from 10, would you check out? How would that affect the customer, and how would that affect the company of Amazon? You wouldn't check out, wouldn't you? How would that affect them? So that means somebody in QA tests something. How would that affect the company? See, every functionality had to be tested before it actually comes out to the user. No way. You ain't putting it's already $69. I don't want that. That ain't what I signed up for. They're gonna lose money, go out of business, customer trust, respect, all of that go out the door. Boom. This is how it's affected. So I want you guys to think in your head at your current jobs. Give me an example of your current job, and have you ever found a defect on your current job on this software application? Or just give me an example. What would be an example that would be detrimental to the company, that if you actually went to work and there was a defect that affected the customer? Can you think of a defect that could affect the customer that would be bad for the business and bad for the customer? Give me an example. Somebody give me an example. And I'm just trying to make sure we're not lagging here. Give me an example. All right. I don't care what job you at. Give me an example. Language, transaction issue. Yeah. What do you mean by language? You saying like maybe you try to use it and maybe it doesn't translate to English? Transaction equal card machine down. Yeah. If you go to Walmart right now and then you can't use the actual, let's just say, Apple Pay, right? If you go up to the machine right now, you try to use Apple Pay, and that's the only place your money was in Apple Pay, they will lose money because that functionality didn't work. Okay? So things have to be tested. So I need you to have the QA mindset. You need to be willing to have good communication, multitasking abilities. You need to be able to be a quick learner, or to learn to be a quick learner. You need to have a passion for testing, because ultimately every job is going to be different. It's not just the skill set. You have to actually learn the job application. Wendy's application is different from McDonald's. McDonald's is different from Comcast. Comcast is different from Blue Cross Blue Shield. So you have to still learn, not just you don't have to not learn, but you don't have to just maintain your skill, but you have to relearn their application. You got to understand what you're actually testing when you go to that job, because now you got to learn their process, their workflows, and how does this application supposed to work so I can test it. Then comes the skill. Okay, I've had 7 jobs and all of them been in different industries practically, so I had to relearn. Even though I knew how to test, I had to learn their way of how they wanted me to test, but then I had to learn their process, their workflows, their systems, and most importantly, their actual their actual application or program. All right. So you need to think and act like an end user. So you're always thinking outside of the box of how could a customer come into contact with the software program application. As a QA, your job is to try to break the system to find the defects. That's as clear as it is. It is your job to try to confirm and validate that the system or the program application was designed to do what it was supposed to do. All right. And it's your job to try to find those defects so it doesn't get to the end user. That's the goal. Now, screenshot this. This is at a high level, something I built for my students. It's an example of the software development process. This is essentially the software development lifecycle process. This is how a program or application actually comes into, I would say ideation, is that a word? Into the hands of the users. So let's think about this. So for instance, Amazon came out, right? So let's look at number 1 in green under SDLC begins. Amazon would have came out with all these user requirements and how they want the functionality to work. Then they would have went to number 2 and start designing it. Then number 3, they're going to start coding it up on a website so the company can see it. Then they're going to push it out to a team to test it. And then what happens is that in that testing cycle, the STLC starts. That's where testers kind of live. It doesn't mean that we're not doing anything in the meantime, but that's the testing process where we start to test to validate the functionalities, and then we report any defects if during test case execution. All right. And then as long as it passes, it goes back into, gets pushed to development. If it fails, it gets reported. And then from being reported, it gets fixed. We retest it and it gets back out to the live environment. And then it goes to maintenance. The rest of the product goes to maintenance as new products, as new improvements come out or defects are found. Do we got that? Quick. It's quick. But you guys look up the SDLC so you understand that. That's your homework. Are we still here? It's a lot. Told you I was going. I'm not here to just give you some, here's 3 secrets. No, like, no, this is what you need to know. You are already a software tester, but let me show you what you need to know. All right. So as a manual QA, in a manual QA testing, you're normally doing requirement analysis, test planning, test designing scenarios and test cases, executing and reporting defects, evaluating and exiting the actual what's called sprint, and then testing and then closing the cycle. So essentially what's happening is when the software is developed, right, it goes through the software development process, those 6 phases, right? The software is actually where the requirements come out, then it's actually designed, and then it's actually coded up on a site. Then it comes to testing. When it comes to testing, we now are analyzing the requirements to make sure we understand the functionalities. We're test planning to say what's coming out, how many people are on a team, how are we going to test, what are we going to test, how long we're going to test, all of these things. Then we're actually going to test case design, meaning we're going to write the steps to actually test the functionality to prove and validate that it's doing what it's supposed to do so that we can then test it. Then we're going to set up our environment, meaning we're going to take whatever hardware, software, because some companies may want you to test just on a Windows device or a Mac, or maybe they just want you to use Chrome versus or Google Chrome versus Safari or whatever. So that's your environments, what hardware, software. All right. And then test execution. Test execution is actually testing the software at that point because you set up everything. And then we close the sprint to make sure, okay, we're done. Now something else could come down in the pipeline in the next week. Okay. All right. So what are you testing? So as a tester, there's different ways you could test, but I like to keep it at this. You could test the front end, what the user sees, the middleware, okay, what the API, how things are being sent back and forth between multiple systems, sending and receiving, or the back end database. What happens if you go to your bank account right now, your bank account said $2,000, but in the back end of the database, it said 20K? Tell me. Something's wrong, right? Something's wrong. If you log in from the front end and it say 2,000, but the database actually is showing, according to all your transactions, you should have 20K. Something's going on with that. That data ain't coming through, right? Something's wrong. Something's wrong either with the database or somehow that middleware, the API isn't getting the information to the front end so that you can see it correctly, nor get your money. That's a problem. See, all of these things have to be tested. Companies and softwares and applications aren't just built upon what you see. They have a front end, a back end, a middleware. All these things have to be tested, you guys. Now, I have seen an increase of companies that also want to see more like middleware API testing. That's a different skill set. So these are things that you can further research, but I'll definitely touch them. All right. So software testing is not equal from company to company, but you got to be ready to act and be a QA. You got to be ready to think outside of the box. You got to always be ready to continuously learn. You got to be willing to GTS, right? GTS. All right. All the time. So that's thinking and acting like a QA. You got to think like it today. All right. So again, here's the software development lifecycle. The software development lifecycle is providing is the actual process of providing a bug and defect free software and making sure it's built to its client's needs and the customer's expectations. So again, let's take Amazon. Amazon came up with Amazon.com. They analyzed and they came out with all the things that they want Amazon to do. Then they designed it, right, to say what they wanted Amazon to look like. Then they developed it, meaning they coded it up on the site. Then when they coded up on the site and they had the design and the requirements, they moved it to the testing, like a mimic site for the team to test it. Then when the team tested it and we reported any defects. And then from any defects, we then reported them and they got fixed, or anything that got approved still went to deployment. Then from deployment, it goes into maintenance for any updates and things of that nature. Got it? That's the software development lifecycle. We as QA testers, we live in this testing phase, but just because you're in the testing phase does not mean that you are not doing nothing and contributing during all of these other phases. All right. So remember, once you're in the software development lifecycle, this testing phase actually starts. So essentially, in the testing phase is considered the STLC, is a sequence of specific actions performed during the testing process to ensure that the software quality objectives are met. Okay, so we as QAs, we're analyzing the business requirements and the functionalities that came out. We're test planning how and what we're going to test, and do we have enough people to do X, Y, Z. Then we're actually writing out our test design so we can actually write the steps for each functionality to test. Then we're setting up our environment to get ready to make sure we have test data, or we have access to the right computer or software, hardware, whatever to test. Then we actually execute, meaning we perform the actual testing to test and prove and validate that functionality. Then from there, we close that test cycle, and everything that came out that was tested and that failed or passed is reported. Then we do it again the next sprint, and we have new features. That's the day in the life of QA. And I'm actually going to kind of give you an overview in a minute. So at a high level, one more, screenshot this, all right? Are you guys getting this in your head? Is it coming together? So at a high level, Amazon.com came out with business system and design requirements. Then from there, they broke them out into features. So Amazon.com may be Amazon, but guess what? They may say they have a shipping feature, but they have a UPS option, they have a Prime option, they have a FedEx option, right? Just because they all shipping doesn't mean that the process to check out using them is the same. It still is a different experience, or the tracking number is different, all of these things, right? So they still need to be tested individually to make sure that they're working. If Amazon launched Prime but they only tested the FedEx options and the UPS option, they would lose a lot of money if they deployed that, right? So then what they do is they break down the features into what's called user stories. It's essentially explanation on how the user will actually come into contact with that functionality, all right, to test and validate that it's doing what it's supposed to do, okay, that it was doing what it was developed to do. Then as a team or a QA lead will actually test plan or create a strategy on, what the company is going to build in quarter one and how we're going to test it, where we're going to test, and we're going to do that for each quarter. Normally that's a QA leads type of thing. And then a company normally has like a requirement traceability matrix, but essentially a requirement traceability matrix is essentially a map. It's like essentially just mapping that all of the project artifacts or documents that came out of testing is covered from the scope of the requirement. So let's just say everything that Amazon wanted to build, at the end of that, the requirement traceability matrix would map all of the test cases that came out of it, all of the executions, the pass, the fails, the defects, and it just maps to basically make a connection of everything that happened with that actual functionality. All right, we got it. Now, as actual QAs, we kind of live in test case writing. So I'll go over what test cases are in a second. We executing results, reporting defects, and closing the sprint. Screenshot this. These are common roles and responsibilities on a QA team. You have a program manager, a business analyst, a product manager, or a SME. Let's see, a QA tester, QA analyst, QA test engineer, whatever whatever title they hold at that job. A developer, programmer, automation engineer, QA lead, QA manager. This is a typical kind of QA team that you'll actually see. Now, there's a difference between manual testing and automation. Again, manual testing is essentially a human testing the software program application to ensure that it's doing what it's supposed to do without the use of any automation tools or scripting. Automation testing is simply automating what a human would be doing using automation tools and scripting. So like, for instance, if I wanted to go to Amazon.com and log in, right, I would do that manually. I would take my mouse and go to the actual field and say www.amazon.com, hit enter, press login, enter my credentials, right? Well, some of automation skills will take a tool like Selenium or Catalan Studio and a programming language and actually code it. So then when he codes it, at a push of a button, it actually instantly goes to Amazon.com and then signs in and enters the credentials, okay? So automation normally happens after a program application has been proven stable, but it should essentially complement or support after manual testing has been done and proven. Got it? They should complement each other, all right? It's a lot, I know. So remember, Software testing, there can be different types of software testing. So essentially, I teach you more front-end manual testing. However, I expose you to mobile application testing, or you do mobile application testing, cross-browser testing. We do introduction to API testing, database testing, and I don't think, we don't go over load testing, but load and performance is a type of testing. So these are all the different types of ways you could test the application. So a front end of application can be tested manually, right? Then the front end of application can be tested via on across browsers, so maybe Safari versus Google Chrome. Then if that company has a mobile application version, it can be tested. Then the middleware of the application could actually be tested using API testing or a tool called Postman. Then the back end could be tested using database validation or via SQL queries. That's a different skill set. So the more you see how like manual testing is essentially testing more from the front end, what the user sees. But nowadays, I'm seeing jobs actually ask for a little bit of, do you know a little API? Do you know a little database? Even if they don't use it, they want to know that you should know this as a tester, though. Because every company is still built on a tech stack, a technology stack, a different technology stack. Sorry. So every company isn't built off the same technology stack or programming language and this and that. So all of these things can be tested. You can have job A that wants you to be definitely more manual front end, but then you can have another job like my husband. He's working for PetSmart remote. He does only mobile application testing for PetSmart. All right. Then I have my brother who actually was doing API testing. So, but the more skills you acquire, the more value and positioning you have in the market. Do we got that? So do we understand that you can do manual functional UI testing, mobile testing, cross-browser testing, API testing? These are all skill sets. And the more you learn, or I even have some students who are like, well, I'm okay with knowing what API is, an introduction, but maybe it's not my thing. I'm not going to go more further into it. And so, that's what they choose. That's fine. But understand that every job could require a different set of skill sets, QA skill sets. All right. And then, of course, you got automation. I don't have it here, but automation testing would be the next thing. So these are types of testing. So now I just showed you what you could be testing, right? The front end, what the user sees, the back end, or the middleware, right? It could be a mobile app, or let's just keep it at front end manual testing, right? But so functional testing is the process of manually testing the user interface, the UI of the application, to ensure it's functioning correctly and meets the specified requirements. All right. So essentially testing the application just is a functional manual test. Then regression is typically done when you actually test the application once an update has been made to the software to make sure that none of the core features or the important features of the application were broken with that update. Then you could do smoke testing. Smoke testing is, again, maybe testing the core functionalities or the heartbeat of the software to make sure that, again, that build is still stable and that nothing has broken. Then there's end-to-end testing. End-to-end testing is testing and verifying that the entire system of function, or the real-world use of how a user will use the application, is actually seamlessly working together. All right. And then integration testing is done to ensure that various components of the system are working together. So end to end is kind of different from integration, because you can have like end to end is maybe from end to end, you go to a shopping cart, or you go to Amazon then sends the tracking number, sends the order to UPS then updates and sends it back. All of this is end to end, and then also like integration, right? Because then you can test the actual component to make sure that when an order is submitted through Amazon, they choose UPS or FedEx, that FedEx then gets to and send the tracking number back. All right. Then exploratory testing. Exploratory testing could be just the company saying, you know what, guys, you guys, I just want you to explore the application, see if you find any defects, try to break it so we can report anything. Now, there are over like hundreds of ways that you can test, but again, essentially this is kind of like what we test, what you're testing, and then this is kind of like the how or the when, okay, of testing. All right, but these are, I would say, the core types of testing that you want to be able to speak to. How are we doing? I'm gonna take a while. Hold on, water sip. Are we okay? I'm about to get ready to try to close this out, but are we learning? Is this good? Let me know. How are we feeling? Do you have an aha moment, aha understanding, or just new knowledge? Let me know. Let me know. This is a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So, what is a test case? A test case is a set of actions executed to verify a feature or a functionality, all right, of your software. It contains test steps, data, preconditions, post conditions, okay? So, essentially, as a software tester, what happens is Amazon comes out with this idea of they want Prime, okay? So then they actually come out with the requirements, business requirements of how they want Prime to function. Then they create user stories. Then, so they say a person should be able to check, 2-day, 1-day, or maybe the system should automatically give, 2-day or 3-day options, right? So then me as the QA, I'm going to look at the design specs and all the knowledge and the handoff meetings that I understand before, because at this point they haven't given it to us for us to test, okay? But I'm going to write what's called a test case. A test case is a set of actions executed to verify a particular feature. So before the actual application comes down the line for testing, me and my team is going to start writing test cases. We're going to write the title, the test ID, the test data. We're going to write the steps to actually test and prove this functionality. And then when it comes out to QA, we're going to test it. So let me give you an example. All right. Sarah says, where have you been? So trying to find life too. So this is an example. All right. So let's just say you're testing a login functionality of a banking app, but the scenario is that you're going to test using valid username and password and verify that the customer can log in. So the first step I'm going to write is navigate to that site.com. The expected results is it should open. Then I'm going to say enter the username and password. The expected results is that the credentials should be entered. Then I'm going to click submit and the customer should be logged in. If all of those steps or each of those steps happens, it passed. If I click submit but the customer never logged in and that failed, the whole test fails, meaning that functionality fails. Do we have that? If you got that, say failed. If you understand what I just said and you understand what a test case is, say failed. I want to know, do you understand what a test case is? So essentially, as a QA tester, we're writing manual test cases to prove a functionality. So then when they give us the software to test, we go through this process to pass or fail the steps and then report any defects. All right, so fail. Okay, so we're understanding what a test case is. Yes, if you understand what I'm saying, go ahead, let me know. All right. So I'll kind of go back to this. In software testing, there's normally documents or project artifacts that comes out of a whole project or deliverables. So before testing, there's normally test plans, test strategies, test cases, design specs. During the testing phase, there's normally test scripts, test data, defect reports, and test case design. After testing phase, there's normally test results, defect reports, all of these things. But essentially, every document that comes out of a project or deliverable is considered an artifact. Okay, just know that. Now, again, this is how example of writing a test case like in Excel. Believe it or not, most companies use softwares now, but I've had companies that actually use have used Excel. So how you execute a test case. So again, how do you execute? Test execution is the process. So test planning or test case writing is writing the steps out, all right, so that we can prove a functionality, all right? But then execution is actually executing and performing the test to validate if it passed or failed. So test execution is the process of executing the code and we're not going to say code, but executing the functionality and comparing the expected and actual results. So how do you execute? You're going to analyze the company requirements from the software application or any documents the company gave you to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do. We're going to write either the company or the team's going to write a test plan on what we're going to test, how we're going to test, do we have enough people to test? That's a test plan. Normally a QA lead is kind of writing or creating a test plan on how we're going to go about that process. Then we are going to write test cases to cover all the requirements that's defined or the functionalities that came out. Then we're going to get the test cases maybe reviewed by our team or our team lead. Then we're going to execute the test cases, and we're going to detect any defects and report any defects. That is test execution. I'll probably be, normally you'll either be taking screenshots, recording your screens, and you'll be actually notating your results, okay? So you can raise a defect report. So again, let's give more example. Let's act like we're at that Walmart POS machine. Let's verify that a Walmart customer can successfully check out with a debit card. Now, hence, remember, I said debit card. I didn't say Apple Pay. I didn't say cash. I said debit card. So in this, the prerequisites is I need access to a virtual POS machine. This is our environment setup. All right, get it? And then we need test data. So I need a test debit card, and I need item numbers for bananas and soaps and pencils. These are all test data. So I can prove this and test this using dummy data. All right. And so I'm going to write out our test case. The step one is for us to go to the POS machine and press start. The POS machine should redirect to the scan screen. Then I'm going to scan the bananas. The bananas should be at a quantity of 1 with a certain price. I'm going to scan the soap. It should do the same. I'm going to scan the pencils. You should do the same. I'm going to press checkout. The total price should display on screen. Then I'm going to select pay debit card. The debit card processor should display. Then I'm going to enter the debit card, and the POS machine should process the debit card successfully and provide a correct receipt. If all of that happens, this passes. If for any reason I do something like get to number 6 and I select pay with debit card and the screen goes black or it keeps going to Apple Pay, it fails, right? It's not doing what it's supposed to do to prove this user scenario. Do we got that? This now starts the defect process. We're about to get ready to show you like a day in the life in Jira. Y'all ready for that? So what's the defect? A bug, an error, a flaw, fault in the computer program or system that causes it to produce an incorrect or unexpected result to behave in unintended ways. Defects can be divided into 3 different categories. It could be a wrong defect, a missing, or extra defect. Okay. Now, essentially, this will be an example of the defect life cycle. So I report a defect. It opens up a new ticket to the developers. The developers assign it to an actual developer to fix it. They fix it. And then once they fix it, they give it back to QA for us to retest it. Once it's retested, we verify that it passed. And then if it passed, it gets closed, and that functionality gets pushed to the live environment. If it fails, we reopen it, and it gets reassigned back to the developer until it's actually fixed and closed. Maybe the defect is rejected because the developers say, well, this goes outside of functionality. This isn't a defect. So he rejected whatever. So you have to work that out with your team. Or maybe it's a duplicate. Maybe someone already reported. So they're like, well, we're not going to take this one. You can close this one. All right. So do we got that? So a day in the life as a QA is me actually understanding the software applications. This is even just before just regular skill set, right? Understanding the business application and program that I'm testing for, right? And then I'm writing test cases, executing test cases, reporting defects, and then any other skills that come along, right? What goes into a defect report? Normally the defect ID, the description, the environment, the reproduction steps, the current behavior versus the expected behavior, any references or screenshots, the status. Now, these things will depend on your job and how they actually want you to write a defect report, but these are the typical things that goes into a defect report. Common defect tracking tools and management tools are Jira, Azure DevOps, Excel, TestRail, Bugzilla, Team Foundation Server, X-Ray Rally, just to name a few. These are common defect tracking and project management tools and systems. So what is the software methodology? I want to talk about this real quick so we can get to what we need to get to. A software methodology is a framework that's used to structure, plan, and control the process of developing an information system. This includes pre-definition of specific deliverables and artifacts that are created and completed by a project, okay? So essentially, a lot of companies, there are different methodologies, but you'll hear Agile, Scrum. Have any of you guys heard Agile? I'm just say Agile right now. Agile? Anybody familiar with hearing Agile or iterative or waterfall methodology? Well, most companies have moved to Agile methodologies. And an Agile methodology is a way to manage a project by breaking it up into several phases. It involves constant collaboration with stakeholders and continuous improvement at every stage. Once the work begins, team cycles through the process of planning, executing, evaluating. All of these builds are provided in iterations, and each iteration lasts from 1 to 3 weeks. So essentially in an Agile environment, they're going to say, okay, Amazon has an idea for Amazon, but let's just say Amazon have, 1,000 different functionalities they want to build. Where they're going to say, well, for the first sprint or the first 4 weeks, we're going to build these 20 user stories of functionalities to give a usable product for these 4 weeks. Then we'll take the next 20 and we'll build those to build a usable product. We got that? A usable functionality. So with the agile methodology, you're constantly planning, designing, developing, testing, and deploying constantly every 2 weeks or week or 4 weeks, depending on how the company actually they run their process. And then in that, they can run it as agile Scrum. Scrum is a framework for project management that emphasizes teamwork and accountability and iterative progress toward a well-defined goal. Okay, so the framework begins with a simple premise to start with what can be seen or known. After that, track the progress and tweak. All right, so in an agile Scrum environment, we're constantly doing all these things. We're constantly planning, designing, developing, testing, deploying, doing it again, right? So let's just take this agile Scrum thought. Amazon came out with the vision of Amazon, right? Then they broke them down into usable functionality and stories, which created a product backlog of all the things they want to build. Then for the first 2 weeks, they said for the sprint, we're going to build these first 10 to 20 functionalities. And then for those 2 to 4 weeks, they're actually developing, they're tweaking the requirements. The teams are meeting to understand what's coming out. They're designing them, they're coding them, they're testing them, and then they're deploying that new functionality. Then at the end of that 2 weeks, the company goes on what's called a sprint review to find, to talk about what went well, how do we need to improve for the next cycle and things of that nature. And then the QA team, they do a team retrospective to talk about, what went well, how they can improve, how they feel about the sprint. And then we do it again. You guys see how that happens? The agile Scrum process happens. So the agile process is promoting a constant planning, designing, deploying, and testing and cycle. But then the Scrum process is bringing all the teams together to make this project happen, come from idea to design to development, and making sure that we're all in sync and we're collaborative. Do we have that? You guys do your search on agile Scrum if you haven't. So you could just screenshot this. Common test management tools that companies use are Jira for project management or bug tracking, Confluence as the wiki, or Azure DevOps. Then again, Bugzilla, Zephyr, TestRail. Automation tools that's common are Selenium, Catalan Studio. Load and performance testing is Load Runner. API testing, Postman is the tool. Database testing. Normally, the database management system most companies may use is maybe something like MySQL, Oracle. And then mobile testing. For mobile testing, they may have you use the actual device that they send you, or like something like Browser Stack or similar. So you can just kind of screenshot this. So again, what is a test management tool? A test management tool allows teams to manage test case environments, automated tests, defects, and project tasks. All right. Whew. I'm about to share my screen now. So what is Jira? Jira is a software application used for issue tracking and project management. Okay, so it's where we house all of those user stories, and the process actually is tracked of the project. Then we can write our actual test cases. So you see how I had that Excel document of a test case? This is actually showing at a high level those test cases actually put in the actual project management tool versus that Excel document. And then this is the execution of it, showing that once we put it in a tool, now we can go down the steps to pass it and fail it. And now it's actually in a project management tool versus Excel. And then Confluence is normally a team workspace where knowledge and collaborative kind of meet. It's kind of like normally where a company has its wiki. All right. And then you can also write your defect, create your defect reports. All right. So are you ready for the day in the life as a software tester? We're about to wrap this up. Are you ready to see a day in the life of a software tester? Let me know. Let me know if you are ready to see a day in the life of a software tester. Are you still here? Let me know. Yes. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And for some reason, it's not sharing the way I want to share, so we'll do it this way. There we go. All right. Can you guys see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? So I'm going to go to Amazon.com on another screen. But so let's just say a day in the life as a QA tester, maybe our company actually uses Jira and Zephyr, right? So remember I told you all of those items that came down the line. So let's just say Amazon came up with a backlog of all the functionalities they want to build. So look at all these items. They maybe have 300 something items they want. But then for the next 2 weeks, they said, you know what? But we're only going to focus on these 15 user stories. As a buyer, I can complete a purchase and receive an email confirmation. As a buyer, I want to be required to enter phone number at checkout. As a buyer, I want to have a minimum order value of 100. As a buyer, I want to be able to see my order history. As a buyer, I want to enter a discount code, right? So let's just say that is the focus for these 2 weeks, all right? So then the sprint starts. So what happens is that the developer starts with it maybe at to do, that user story, all right? And inside of that user story, we have the user story. This is called a user story acceptance criteria. So acceptance criteria is normally essentially you telling you, when this user story is proven and it's the definition of done. If it meets this, that this user story passed. So as a buyer, I do not want to be required to enter a phone number at checkout for the billing. The acceptance criteria says, given when the buyer is ready to check out, when they get to the checkout cart and enter the billing address, then the checkout cart will not require phone number. So as long as it's doing this user story essentially would pass. You can pass that user story. It means it meets definition of done for this actual scenario. Okay. But as a QA tester, let's just say the developers, you see how it's in to do? Let's just say the developers are, I don't know why that's on that side. Let's just say the developers actually put it in progress and they're just developing it. So as a QA, what am I doing during this time? So as a QA, I am actually probably reading the business requirements. So inside of here, I actually have the business requirements. And again, companies can store them in different ways, but essentially the business requirements may tell me more about the functionality so I can write my test cases. So for that scenario, I would actually write a test case to say, go to, the company website.com and click on this button and do this. And as long as you're doing all that, then it passes. Okay. So essentially I will write a test case, okay, for this scenario to prove this user story. All right. And so how I would do that is this user story, I would actually then, we use Zephyr. So I'll actually, write a test case. We have some test cases here. And let me reshare my screen as it's opening up. And so then instead of using Excel, we have a project management tool. So now maybe our test scripts are in here. Now, this isn't accurate. This is actually not a good example of how I would probably have wanted you to see a test case. So I might want to go back to another one. But essentially, you would write a test case, okay, to prove this. And then from actually writing a test case, let me actually reshare my screen. Let's see. I should have probably had an example up. So essentially, I would start this to say, go to, navigate to www.amazon.com. The test result, the expected result is the page to open. Then I'll create another step. And I'll say, click on login or whatever I have to do to prove this user story. So I'm writing the test case steps to prove this user story and this functionality. Okay. And then from there, it actually has to get executed. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share. I'm going to turn off my screen really quick and I'm going to share another one because I want to see if I could maybe find a different user story. Yeah, let's try to find one that maybe is already mapped out. I maybe should have had one that was already open, but I didn't. So, all right, here we go. Let's see. I don't know. Should probably had a good example already up. And these are my actual students in here, guys, that actually just completed a project internship. So when you see all these people, I want you to know these are actual students that just went through a project internship. So that's the work that's actually being done within this project. So let's go ahead and let me go back And this is the test case. So as a buyer, do not want to be required. You see how she said navigate to site. Here's the test data. The expected results that the site should open. Then select items, add them to the cart. The expected result, the item should successfully add to the cart. Go to the cart and verify that it meets the order amount. The order amount is met. All right, so do you see? Do we know what a test case is? Let me know. Say TC. TC, if we understand what a test case is. So we're writing the test case. So at this point, we do not have access to the software. We're really just getting ready we're writing our test cases to prepare to test this once we have access to the application. All right. So at this point, that's what we're doing when we're test planning and writing test case designs as we're getting ready to prove the functionality. All right. So let's go back. So I'm going to go back and let's go back to this user story board. So let's go back to the board. So let's just say now, I don't know how all this got moved around. So let's just say now the team actually, the developers have developed it and they put it ready for QA. So as a QA, now I'm going to see it ready for QA, or they're going to assign it to me, and then I'm going to put it in testing, and I'm going to go test this. So when it's in testing, that means now I have access to the software application. So now that means that I am actually looking at my programmer application. So let's just say Amazon is our actual programmer application. Okay. So I will be actually I will be in the test environment of that programmer application to actually test the functionalities per my test case. We got that? So how that's actually going to look is then I'm actually going to, let me go back to that. And I'm actually going to show you, for instance, her test case execution. So now we're going to do test case execution. So now I've actually written out my test cases. Now I'm ready to execute my test cases. Okay. So now I'm in execution in Jira, or actually Zephyr, because it's tied in. And now I'm going to navigate to the site. So basically I'm going to follow the steps to validate this user story. Let's just say it failed. So if it passed, everything passed, it means that it can be done. It can go to done, and developers can push it to the live environment. If it fails, now I'm going to then go ahead and create a new issue and create a defect report. So now I'm actually going to create a bug. That is a day in the life of a QA. Do we get it? Do we get it? And let me see. I think she actually has a defect example. So let me see if I can actually pull a defect example to kind of see. There we go. Here's a good one. So here's a defect example. So the defect example is they reported a defect and said unable to input the billing information. So they put the environment information, the test data, they put the steps to reproduce the defect, and then they put the current behavior versus the expected behavior, and then they provided screenshots. This is a day in the life of a QA. Do we get it? Got it. Now, again, I'm not going to tell you that every company or software program application, their process is this simple, okay? Because every company could still run their QA team slightly different, more simple or complex. You have to be ready. This is why I say you have to be willing to be a continuous learner. You got to be willing to be, always learning, okay? Because a company could definitely do it, similar or different from this. And they're going to have different, applications, programs, workflows. But this is a day in the life of a QA. All right. This is a day in the life of a QA. So let me go ahead and, start. All right. So congratulations. Do you understand software testing? Do you understand software testing? All right. So the truth is the internet can keep you in information overload. Yes, it can. I know it can because I have absolutely been there. Okay. I've definitely been there in information overload before. Okay. So the recap, how did I break into tech without a degree or experience? I use my skills method. to go from newbie to qualified candidate and to offer. Your skill sets equals your paycheck. So now I want to ask you, I want to take you guys behind the scenes. Is that okay? I figure, like, look, you got something to take away, and I'm still going to send you because you're basically staying to the end. As long as you stay to the end, I'm going to send you my resources. But what if you implemented the 6-step method to confidently get into the market in the next 60 or 90 days and have recruiters chasing you like my students? What if you learn QA skills, rebrand your resume, form your tell me about yourself, and put your resume in the market? Would that make a difference for you? Let me know. Do you want to hear how I can give you a clear roadmap to support for learning how to be a software tester? How I've been able to help, how I personally landed and worked 7 QA remote jobs within the last year. It says 4, but it's actually 7 now. And how I can teach you a high demand skill set. Then let's say bye to low paying retail jobs. Let's say bye to stressful customer facing positions. Because I don't know about y'all, but I got into software testing where I'm willing to skill up because I don't want to look at people. So I don't want to be talking about customer service calls. I don't want to do technical support. That ain't me. So let's say bye to dead end careers and underpaid technical jobs. Are we saying bye? Let's say bye. Let's say bye to the jobs that AI automation taking because we're going to skill ourselves up. We understand it to make high 5-figure income, 6-figure incomes. We got to skill up. So here's how we can work together. And if you allow me, I can take you to behind the scenes. I'm not only going to show you the program, I want to also show.
Okay, so you might have just said yes. Thank you so much for watching that long free training. I hope you got a lot of gems out of that. However, if you want to take a step further, I want to know if you believe. Are you willing to trust the process that this can actually happen for you too? Listen, you have 2 choices. You can either work on your own or with a community. So I want to invite you to Road to QA, the software testing career skills development program. You have 2 ways to join us. You can join us for $8.97, and we can give you $200 off within the next 48 hours if you use code Career200 at checkout. All right. Now we do have a payment plan option, and we actually only have 10 spots available. We only let so many people in per month to the payment plan because essentially we're giving you pretty much full access to the whole program, even on the payment plan. But you'll get your actual discount if you actually go ahead and you join using the coupon code and you pay in full. Now, let me take you through what you're talking about even investing in. Essentially, the Road to QA game plan is, it starts with you actually accessing your learning portal. You go and you learn and you join the live weekly and monthly calls with our team. You complete the training on your own and pass all of your prereqs through the program with 80% above. Once you get through that, you apply for the next internship experience. Our next one currently is January, April, and July 2024. We do them every 3 months. So you join and you go through Road to QA on your own time, being ready to actually submit and join an internship experience if you want. Then from there, you take the experience and what you've learned, you reconstruct your resume, or you hire a specialist to assist you. We do have a module that helps you. And then you finish the program and get into the market and interview until you land your first role. Now, how do we do this? We take you through our 6-step skills method to pivot into tech. All right. We're going to take you through these 6 steps: our start, know, improve, level up, load, and score. This is the curriculum inside of Road to QA, but this is the core curriculum. Right, inside of Road to QA, you're going to learn the basis of software testing. You're going to learn agile Scrum methodologies, project test management tools, intro to SQL, mobile testing, and intro to API and automation. All right. And so happy because we just added these 3 new modules too, or 3 hours of modules now. Now, how the program works is when you actually apply to submit to come to an internship, again, you're doing it remote. You're all on your own time. And actually, no, I don't want to say that you're on your own time, but you can do it before or after work. And essentially, you spend 10 days with us in a virtual internship experience and with a group of your peers where I take you through a day in a life. All right. So you will go through, you join Road to QA, you go through the program, you apply for the internship experience, and then from there you successfully participate in the experience, you submit all of your assignments, reconstruct your resume, send a copy to the internship team for approval, get into the market to start landing interviews until you secure your first role. And that is the process. You're going to keep interviewing until you actually land a role for about 70 to 100K. I definitely want everyone to at least be also negotiating at least for about $30 to $35 an hour. Okay. Now, remember, because it's an instant digital intellectual property and program, Road to QA is a non-refundable and non-cancellation. And ultimately, we've also had 40 out of 80 students that have landed roles. They've never done an internship. So we've had almost half and half that have actually used the internship and it helped them. And then we have others that never took the internship, just the learning and the content and showing up to the calls. And it was able to learn their first, that was able to land their first role. Now, again, you have two ways to join. You can join us for $8.97. Use code Career200 at checkout, and you can get $200 off today, meaning your full and pay option will actually be $6.97. Or you can actually join us for 5 payments of $199. You're going to get access to the training, the community, the mentorship, and the internship. Now, remember, Road to QA, graduation is you actually getting your first offer, but program completion means that you've learned and acquired the skills so that you can actually position into the market to try to land your first one. But graduation is actually when you're celebrating, you actually have landed that first role. Why Road to QA? Because we are cheaper than a high cost boot camp. We are self-paced community with support, mentorship, and an optional internship. It's a proven learning with over 80 students who have secured roles using our process and learning from QA practitioners. I've done it. I do it. I'm a QA and I've had over 8 roles now. Well, I've had 8 roles now. So again, here's what you actually get. You get access to over 40 hours of pre-recorded self-paced training, the private community group, weekly mentorship calls, monthly mentorship calls, monthly group interview prep calls. We have a new monthly hot seat for DIY resume construction. We have access to participate in a 10-day internship, which is optional and is use it or lose it. So you have 9 months to join one of the internships that's pre-scheduled. Again, the next ones are January, April, and July 2024. All right. Then any access to any special guest trainings, over 40 hours of replays of Q&A mentorship calls on top of your training. And once you actually land your first role, you have access to actually go in the graduates chat so that when you won't feel by yourself. You can communicate with other people who is currently in their QA roles and to be able to get feedback on how to show up. Then we have a Road to QA study bot coming and a Road to QA job portal actually coming. Now, remember, the average QA software testing bootcamp is about $2,500 or more. I've seen them up to $5,000, right? Road to QA was designed to actually be a cost-effective way for people to learn how to be a high-paid software tester and make your pivot on your own time, with the support of a community and the training and the internship and the mentorship. The average student offer is $70K plus, meaning that's about $26.90 biweekly of your first check. So your first check, just a percentage, makes this full investment back if you just do the work and believe. We've had almost over 45 students land roles in our program without ever taking our internship. So it's proven whether you've been in an internship or you haven't, it works. But you have to be willing to keep going, get the phone to ring, land interviews, take good feedback until you land your first one. So join us now for $8.97. Use code Career200 at checkout, or you can join us on the $199 payment plan. All right. Remember, you're going to get access to the training, the community, the mentorship, and the internship. We've had over 80 stories of Road to QA program student success, all right? And so many more. Looks like I duplicated that, but and so many more, all right? This is just an example to show you that these are real people, all right, who have done it, and you can do it too. So your options are to keep going at it at your own pace and alone, spending endless hours of researching and guesswork, watching another 6 months go by, or posting desperately in Facebook groups. Or your next steps is to simply join Road to QA. Access your 6-step learning portal, say hello in the community chat, attend weekly and monthly calls, and complete your assessments and participate in an internship experience. So let me give you a sneak peek inside of Road to QA now. So when you actually join Road to QA, Here we are. So when you actually join Road to QA, you're going to get access to this members portal. So remember what I actually said. We're going to take you through where you're actually going to learn the curriculum through these 6-step modules. But the core of that training, all of that knowledge is right here in step 2. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to join, you're going to watch your getting started welcome videos. You're going to also be able to have the links to the call replays. So remember, all the replays and everything I said from the last year is already sitting here. So even if you miss a call, the replays are always posted inside of the members portal. Then you're going to start your learning and start your training. And then at the end of each step, there is an assessment. And the goal is that you complete each assessment. By the end of you actually doing all the assessments, you should actually earn 6 badges that come to your email. That lets you know you've actually fulfilled the program prereqs and you've done what you needed to do. And so now you are ready to go, and you're going to start submitting your pre-internship, and then you're going to submit to the internship form to say you're ready to join and experience. All right. Now, before you do that, you're actually going to access and make sure that when you join, you say hey to us, right, in the actual community. So our community is active. Again, people are learning at their own pace. So don't think you're alone, even though everyone's on their own pace. People are active, answering questions and supporting each other here. So when you join, you're going to say hello. You have your pre-homework assessment tab. That's for your step 2 or your step 1 homework. And then you have study groups, resources. We post wins. So when students land roles, we celebrate you. Then you can get the new members call link. So when you actually get started, you're going to get started. And then I want you to join us on a weekly new members call so we can welcome you and you can ask any questions. All right. Then you have access to all your monthly group calls and weekly calls. So you can actually get the links right here. Now, when you actually join an internship, our internships actually get a private chat. So once you're actually approved to one, you actually go into a private chat community. And that is what you get inside of Road to QA. So you actually get the training, you get the community, you get the calls, and then you actually get the internship. So how the internship works is when you're approved, you actually will get access to another whole module that's actually going to be for the internship experience for 10 days. And how the internship works again is that you show up virtually for 10 days with me. We have a private chat. We have a private actual chat for you to communicate with me for 10 days. You're going to have daily releases of tasks to walk you into a day in the life of QA. You bring your questions, do your daily stand-ups, you complete your project, and you're able to use that on your resume, and it's going to bring all of your training together. All right. So that is how Road to QA actually works. So again, these are your next steps. Sign up, go through, access the 6 steps in the learning, say hello in the community, access your weekly and monthly calls, do your assessments, apply for the internship, and get into the market until you land your first one. All right. And if you have any questions, you can always email us at hi@roadtoqa.com. And all I want to say is thank you for attending. I can't wait to meet you inside of Road to QA.